So I don't know if this is going to have enough recording to get all the way through this, but if you're watching my channel, there's a pretty good chance you also have watched at least some Jordan Peterson stuff, and I'm going to be commenting here on something that he said. He pointed out that one of the modern puzzles that he has difficulty coming to grips with, and I do too, is why communism and its symbols, such as the hammer and sickle, are less reviled than Nazism and its particular symbol, which is the swastika. Like, why is it that you see a swastika and you instantaneously feel loathing and contempt and scorn? You see a hammer and sickle, and that seems to get a pass. Or you can people claim to be communists, and that doesn't put them immediately outside the bounds of civilized discourse. Like, nobody who can say, "Oh, I'm a Nazi," like, as soon as somebody says that, they're saying, I'm not a civilized person anymore. I'm not playing the game of civilization. But communism apparently is acceptable, as are the symbols. And why? Why is that the case? Because communism is arguably worse. It certainly has a higher body count in the 20th century. And then Jordan Peterson also said that it was quite difficult to identify where the political left ideologies go off the rails, in the way that it's not difficult to identify where the political right-wing ideologies go off the rails. The clear identifier on the right, as he said, was when you start declaring racial superiority for your own group, presumably, or racial inferiority for some other group. That's like, okay, you're no longer having the conversation within the bounds of civilized discourse. You shut your face and get out of here. And his choice for the moment where you go off the rails, where you're no longer being a civilized person, where you should be actually shut out of the conversation, is on the left, the claim of equity. And I agree with that. And I also agree with that it's hard to identify that. Now, coming back to the idea of racial superiority, the Black Lives Matter movement and its related movements, Antifa and all this other stuff, and supposed anti-racism, these seem to be creatures of the left, and yet they are overtly, like, they are categorically and blatantly claiming racial superiority for either black people or white people. I mean, it depends on which part of the sentence you're in, because they claim both, which is, no consistency. But they are saying one group is superior to the other, one group is inferior to the other, and they actually, depending on what point they're trying to make, that flips back and forth. So that's weird. That we used to think that was a crime of the political right, but now the political left is doing that, so that's a little strange. But another place where I think the left goes deeply off the rails, like the part where when you hear this, you're no longer dealing with a civilized person, is in the arguments for socialism and communism, of many of which these conversations I've had with people professing to promote those ideas. You get into the idea of taking away human motivation to either succeed or fail. Like, there are penalties for failure in a meritocracy, and there's rewards for success. And like, there's excellence has rewards other than just excellence. There are monetary and social and status-wise and economic and, reproductive. There's all these attached rewards for the additional effort, the striving for excellence in a meritocratic, which is to say a capitalistic system, that you get rid of, and therefore you get rid of these motivations for human striving. And also, like, the idea of socialism, that without these motivations, you're still going to have a progress of technology and a modern, industrial society, and technology is going to advance, and everybody's life is going to continue to get better, while you flattened out the human motivations for either striving or not. And, like, I think there was a famous entomologist who pointed out that communism is a really excellent system for social insects, but not so much for humans, because humans have, individual desires. And the counter-argument that I have heard for this particular point, and I've heard it over and over and over from different individual socialists/communists, is that, we'll just change human nature so that that's not the problem anymore. Never mind the mechanism of how they're going to change human nature, just the idea that they're going to change basic human nature so that that problem goes away. I think that is actually one of the most glaring radioactive red flags that you're no longer dealing with a civilized person, because what they're actually saying is that urge is more totalitarian than totalitarian. They're not just going to control your thoughts and control your thinking and control your speech and control your motion and control your activity and control your association, control what you see, control what you say, they're going to control your soul. They're going to rewrite your soul. And I know you don't have to view that as a religious, statement, because I'm not actually using it in a religious sense. I'm using it in a metaphorical sense. That is a totalitarian urge of such overreach, such arrogation, and fucking sheer hubris. They want to rewrite your soul to put you into the little square box that they want to put you in. I think that should be recognized, and as soon as anybody starts having that conversation, you're no longer part of civilization. You need to go. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and as always, have a lovely day.